Okay, everybody. Good morning. Oh, come on, you in the room.
Good morning.
We're all out of practice doing this, right? Well, it's wonderful to all see you here in person. This is our second in-person post-COVID conference, even though sometimes post-COVID feels like never ending. But it is wonderful to have you all here. I'd also like to welcome into the room all of our delegates that are joining us online. As we say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to keep my introduction brief. I'm going to say a little bit about the format of this conference. I'm going to talk about some of the things that we are trying to do both online and in person. And then I will hand over to our first to our Research Network Chair and then to our keynote speaker. So this is a blended conference. And what does that mean for us? So when COVID was on the horizon, it feels like yesterday and a lifetime ago, and that we saw, what the impact would be for this kind of scholarly communication, what it means for meeting face to face, talking to each other, and also what it meant for a kind of digital experience. What were our short-term lives going to be? That we tried to look at it through a kind of long-term lens, and rather than build a temporary shelter that we were going to dismantle at the end, we really wanted to not just think about the challenges of what it meant to deliver scholarly research during a pandemic, but what were the kinds of underlying inequalities within scholarly communication that we could also try and consider at the same time. Why people do or don't come to in-person conferences. There are financial reasons. I'm a graduate student. I can't afford to be here. There are now brand new climate commitments. I don't feel like there is an ethical basis to me coming in person each year. So we wanted to build an infrastructure that was something that we could use for these research networks going forward. And so we have our own software team. What makes Common Ground Research Networks different is that we don't just co-curate scholarly communities like this one here, is that we research and we're interested in the technologies that support these infrastructures. And so we had our own humble intervention, which is which we've been building for quite some time. So the CG Scholar platform has been about 6 or 7 years in the making. Prior to the pandemic, we've had funding from the Department of Education and the Gates Foundation. So this is a collaborative research project in what we're doing. But for the conference itself, we built this event application within the platform, and we made some kind of pedagogical decisions on what a blended conference is or could be. And so what we did is we've given everybody at this conference a presentation page. So you've all got a presentation page where we encourage you to upload digital content. Both the online delegates have done that, and we encourage you to do this too. And all that content, other than the keynotes, all that content is asynchronous content. Why did we do that? Well, one, time zones is a barrier of exclusion. Which time zone is it? Defines a power of a paradigm of power that we were trying to bridge. So that's one thing. The other thing is that we wanted to rethink the kind of temporality of what a scholarly conference is. You know, so in this, we are trying to build a kind of time capsule of content where all of that content that has been shared is something that you can go back to. You know, you can engage at the times that you want. That can be during, post, in a year, 2 years. This is something that is a resource that you can continue to come back to. That's why we have no printed program. That's part and part why we have no printed program. The irony of what I'm about to say is not lost on me, but, you know, also part of our climate commitments is to reduce some of this content. I know we've all flown here, but we are trying. We have our own climate pact as a organisation, and we are measuring the impact that we have, and we're trying to do bit by bit the things that we can do. And so we're not just only drawing you into this digital space so you can use the resource, but there are other commitments that underlie that as well. The conference is just one part of this research network. There's two other aspects which I just want to briefly draw your attention to. One is we have a wonderful journal which is attached to this research network. We hope that the conversations that you have in these rooms are the beginning of things that become research papers that will end up in our journal. There's two things that we try and do differently with this journal process. You know, one is to take seriously the peer review. We love Katja, we love our editorial board, but we don't want them to be kind of dictators of content. So if you submit a paper, we then put you in a pool of experts that also does the peer review work within this journal itself. And that way, the validation of the content that comes through here is by the community of practice here. The other thing that we do is that in your registration is a network membership, and that includes access to the journal. So, you know, giving back the content that you produce and validate is a very important part of what we are trying to do as well. If you like the people in this room, the things that they say and the things that they are doing within the world, then it's a journal that you'll really appreciate. We also have a great book series, and you also get electronic access to all the books that we have published as well. So that's the scope of the research network itself. For the in-person delegates, there is some experiences that I want to talk to you about that are important about what we do here. Firstly, after the keynote today, you'll see in the program a garden conversation. Generally, we take you guys out into a garden and have a conversation with the plenary, but we're not going to do that today. We're going to stay in here. We're going to look at these two trees, pretend we're in a garden, you know, think about what our climate futures may be. This could be as close to gardens as we get for some time. So that's what's happening after that. Then we move into talking circles. And there'll be two talking circles that are grouped around the themes of the conference. Just choose one of those that best fits your research area. Go into that room, introduce yourself, say who you are, where you've come from, the kind of work that you do. We hope that's a nice way for you to make those personal and professional connections. Breaks and lunch will be in the room at the back. That's important to know. The other thing that we're doing tomorrow is that, you know, we are also trying to get some hands-on practical kind of experiences within these conferences as well. So we are doing, we have called it a visual immersion case study experience. We have called these different things, but tomorrow we're all going on a walk, and we're going to 3 art galleries here in Austin, the Blanton Museum of Art, the Contemporary Austin Jones Centre, and Women and Their Work. There has been curators from each of these galleries will be talking to us, but not only are we walking in that experience, what I wanted to do is the practical thing is I want you to be taking your computers, your cameras, content collection things, notebooks, and I want you to think about the theme of this conference which is the Metaverse. What is it? How does it appear in our everyday, what are the kind of digital technologies that we see in public space? How do we collect data? What's our role within this data? And I want us to be collecting resources as we go. And then after that event, we're going to end up in a bar together, and we're going to talk about those experiences. And we're going to follow up after the conference and see if we can track all of these. We have filmmakers here, we have photographers, we have theorists, we have a whole range of people who can think about what this physical experience is, and would like to pull it all together in a little like catalogue / publication. We will talk to you more about this tomorrow, but I just wanted to foreshadow what we'll be doing tomorrow afternoon. I've said too much. I'm going to hand over to Katja, who's our Dr. Katja is our Research Network Chair, and she's going to say a few words of introduction and welcome, and then I'll introduce our plenary speaker this morning. So I really appreciate you all being here. Thank you for being here, and let's enjoy the next 2 days.
Hello, good morning, buenos días, para nuestros hermanos que están con nosotros. Good morning all. Thank you all for being here physically or here not in person, but they are here with us too, trying to contribute for this experience and for our investigation in this field. So I would just like to say to you, welcome on the Image conference. It's a pleasure to have being here, and for, like Phil said, the second year after this post-pandemic, so it's a pleasure to be able to be here. I have to confess you that I was traveling to New York the day before everything closed. And when we organized last year, the On the Image conference was in Lisbon. And when we started to organize it here in Texas, it's my first time here, I have to confess that my heart just said, I will try to not be very excited, because until the end, we never know. But now I'm here. I'm very thrilled to being here in America again, and for the first time in Austin. And I think many of you are here for the first time too. So we are enjoying this experience together too. So we are confronting a time of many changings and challenges since the last years, and face these global issues. And nevertheless, it could be invigorating time for the image fields. And we have this amazing team that makes all the sense at this point, I think, personally. And so this conference on the image has the ability to be a space for us together to reflect, interact, contribute for a growth of new ideas and perspectives and realities and contexts. Because I don't know if you felt the same, but in the middle of the pandemic, we are just saying, oh, we're going to learn so much with this. And now that's why we say, really, are we learn? We don't know. I don't know, really. I think we can discuss this and above the theme of the image, and I think it's important for us to have this reflection together. So the image field is a stimulating area in which to go to work, and we'll certainly continue to meet, bring inspired people together in our conference. Well, one of the things that I love most in this conference, it's because we can work the team image in the several areas. And if we start to wondering, there is not so many conferences that we are able to do that. Usually I come from design. So if I'm going to a design conference, it is a design conference. But here now, I love to see the works that most of you are going to present, because it's like, okay, a view about image in the theater, in the cinema, in the arts, in the journalism, and so different areas that is very stimulating. And in the end, I learned so much with all these different points that each of you have about this big theme that is the image. Because I have, of course, my mind, when I thought in image, I think in image related to design. So this is my first thought. And then when I see all these different words, I say, wow, it's amazing, this perspective. I never thought about it. And for me, this is the most great value of this conference. We have then our main topic. Here comes the Metaverse. That constitutes for me, as a designer, how can you imagine, a very fascinating area of interest. So thank you again for being part of this, I call it this big family that is coming around, this big family that works above this amazing team that is the image. And once again, I'm very, very pleased to welcome you for the 13th International Conference on the Image. Enjoyed these 2 amazing days. I think that's it's very good. We are not this amazing large group, because in that way we have much more opportunity and possibility to talk with each other, to discuss to each other, and we'll have the time do it, and we have the time to learn, and we have the time to grow up together. And I think in the end is our main goal. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
Okay, so I forgot one thing not so important and one thing very important. The not so important thing is, my name is Philip Kalantzis. I'm the Chief Social Scientist at Congregate Research Networks. The important thing is our Emerging Scholar Program. So one of the things that we really think is a duty and a really important thing to do is to have emerging scholars at the front of the room. To be clear, being emerging isn't a temporal quality, it's an existential quality often. I hope I haven't thrown you guys under the bus. Sometimes I feel that too. But we have a great group. It's a competitive application process, and we have a great group of emerging scholars this year. Could I ask them to stand for 1 second, please? We'll give them a round of applause. Sharing the rooms, they'll be guiding conversation, and so thank you guys for being here, and I'm sure everyone will appreciate all that you do and get a chance to understand you as researchers and practitioners. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, another round of applause. Yes.